Mhm. So is there a tie-in to the short-term rental thing? Is when you say the reservations? Because we're actually getting ready to start like an Airbnb division. That's why I asked. So, okay. So before you get off of this, go back to occupancy. Now tell me what that is again. Got it. Okay. You got to approve them, I guess, or whatever. Okay, I see what you're saying. Mhm. And what's utility usage again? Hmm. Got it. Yep. Okay. Mhm. Mhm. So the actual thing is unlocked. What is the green key then? What is that? Okay. And then what's 69 and the little leaf? What is that? Got it. Got it. Got it. Interesting. All right. So the other one is 68 going to 55 or going down, but it's on heat. Love it. I like that. So that's pretty good. It gives you a lot of information there right at your. And I'm assuming the three unlocks on that one down there mean there are three locks on that door on that house, and they're all unlocked. So it's interesting. How would you know which lock was which? If you hovered over them, would you know that or no? Or you just have to click into it? All right. So let's look here. Mm-hmm. All right, wait, you roll down a second. What's the bottom thing? What is that? Motion sensor. Okay. And then, so roll up, there's a leak sensor, a contact sensor. Oh, okay, so closed like a door. I got it. And then what's this monitoring arm on the side? What does that mean? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Whenever you're ready, I'm up here. Mm-hmm. Got it, got it. Okay. All right, and then let's see, what roll up there a minute. So we got codes, activity, residence. Mm-hmm. And it sends an invite to them. Okay, that makes sense. Mhm. Yeah. So technically, yeah, they don't even have to download the app. They already have the code. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. Got it. All right. What's the other tab there? Codes. Yeah. All right. So go back to codes again. Hit codes again. On so what is retry? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Retry. Mhm. Got it. Got it. Pushes the command out a second time. And what about edit? So hit edit. That's where I could customize who that code is. And, mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
It works on.
Okay.
So that's the codes tab. And then the last thing, every single unit has the activity log. So this is where you'll get a full audit of everything that's gone on with that respective unit. So if your staff members that have gone in and out, any settings that have been set up for the thermostat, any contact sensors that have been opened, you'll be able to track it in here. And then two things I want to show you over here is you can lock and unlock this remotely through the management portal. We do have the manager app, so you can actually view all of your properties and click unlock while you're in the field, or you can set up codes as well in the field.
Okay.
All right. So anything else regarding these?
Can we change the thermostat remotely?
Yeah. Yep. You can change the thermostat remotely. You can put it to heat. You can turn it off. You can put it on fan on, auto, and click apply, and it'll automatically send that command.
Yeah. All right.
And the cool thing too is up here you'll actually see the last command that was changed. So when the hub was online, the last command that was put on the thermostat was done physically at the unit.
Oh, so that's smart. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah. So that's the properties page. The next one I want to highlight is the staff side. So this is where you guys can create individual agents, so other people that have admin access that can log in, and you can also set up codes. So with the system, again, everything's real time. So if you needed to grant, let's say, contractor New York, you can set up his code here. We do have grouping available, so if you want to tailor your properties into, let's say, like New York, LA, San Francisco, Houston, you can do that here. And whenever you click those units, let's say these two groups, all the properties that are in those two groups will automatically set once I complete this process. So I'll generate a random code here. And then the last three over here deal with the duration. So we have a few options. First one is daily repeating. I like to describe this one as like individuals that need access, let's say, between the work week. So say 8 to 6 p.m. Between Monday and Friday. What this means is when I click submit, this code will only be active on Monday through Friday between 8 and 6. Everything outside of that range, the system and the lock will not recognize it. That's not granted access. So it does that automatically for you. Any questions regarding that? Pretty easy.
No, and then specific period is just a one time, I'm assuming.
Yeah, specific period is a start date and time, and then an end date and time. So I know some people that use this, like let's say they have an HVAC specialist who's going on the 1st, and he's starting work at like 6 a.m. and he only needs access for the weekend because he needs to head for multiple units. You can set it up that way, and that code will only work during that timeline, and that's it.
Then vacancy.
And then,
well, I understand never expires. That makes sense.
Yeah, never expires. Obviously, it works indefinitely until you say otherwise. And the vacancy code is a new one that we added. So with certain clients that have like third-party vendors that need access to their units, what enabling this option does is that it'll automatically filter out all your occupied units. So let's say you granted someone access to all your properties, but you enabled the vacancy code. That means that every single property that's occupied, the code will not be programmed into, and it'll only highlight the vacant property. So you don't have to worry about individuals like contractors or leasing agents accidentally typing in a code and then there's actually a resident there, and obviously that causes headache. They're upset, like, why are you guys coming in when I didn't ask? This avoids that altogether.
Okay. All right.
And then pretty much once you're done there, you click submit, and then it'll automatically populate in this page. And again, the lowest deadbolt slot amount that you can get, which is our base clock, is the 110, and that holds 110 codes.
So what's the? I see some that are red, which means, and then green, and then what's amber though?
Yeah, so the yellowish amber color means that it's setting, so the code is in the process of trying to program, but let's say you can't find the lock. Let's say because the lock was moved or it was removed from the unit, so that's why you'll see it in setting. Yeah. But if you ever do see it in this color, and let's say it doesn't do it immediately, if you click retry, it'll actually force it and then transition to green.
And then email or text, I'm assuming is to email or text the code.
Correct. So this will, whenever you send this, we'll give them a description of the properties they have access to, how long they have access for, and then what their 6-digit code is that's assigned to them. So anytime, let's say this person uses their code, whenever it gets logged in activity log, it'll say cleaning company. So some people set up actual names. So say Zach, David, Sabrina all have their own code. Anytime that any of those individuals use their code in the system and during the notifications, they'll say Zach unlocked property A and property B at these respective times.
Got it. All right, keep going.
All right. So that's the staff side. Residents, this will give you a list of all the occupied properties and the tenants that are residing in them. So it's more just like a tracking type of thing. Nothing really special about it. You don't have to send invitations there as well.
Well, I'm assuming that we would deactivate. We'll go back to residents. So I'm assuming that you're able to click and deactivate when a tenant moves out, or am I able to hit a button and say, boom, they're gone? It takes all their codes out.
Exactly. So whenever you move out someone on the enterprise side, it'll clear out the entire property. So any codes they created, any schedules they had set up for their thermostats, and any scenes they have created automatically get cleared, and it automatically transitions from occupied to vacant, thus granting, let's say, all those staff codes that you set up on vacancy code, it'll automatically program those codes in the unit, and then during the, obviously, move-out process, they can go in, clean up the property, make sure that everything's good, and then bring it back onto the market.
Okay. And is there this sounds like a little bit of automation, but is there a way to, once you hit move-out, as part of that, can it go back and set some default codes that we maybe pre-programmed, or I don't know? I'm just asking.
Yeah. That's what the vacancy code does. So once you click move out, all the codes that were under the vacancy slot will automatically program into that deadbolt again and grant that person access immediately. And then obviously, if you don't have the vacancy code checked off and you create a staff code that says, you remember the never expires button, those codes are active indefinitely. So if you type in a code, even if it's occupied, that will still grant you access.
Got it. All right.
And then the last one is the settings. So this is where you have a few company-wide level rules that you can adjust for your entire portfolio. The one that I like to highlight is the thermostat rules. So over here, you have a few options to opt into. The first one is the temp range lock. So think of this as like a minute max that you can incorporate. So the best example I like to give is, have you ever been to a hotel and tried to bring it down to, let's say, the lowest temperature?
Yeah, so I understand what it is. Is this, but you're saying this is company-wide, or is it group-wide, or is it individual, or?
So currently it's company-wide. If you wanted to set up the temp range lock on like vacancies or specific groups, we can obviously utilize that for the tiered access component. So that is doable.
Okay. All right.
So like if you wanted like specific markets to have temp range locks that are different, that can be set up with the tiered access.
Okay, and then frost prevention, I don't even know what that is, but.
Yeah, so these are the damage prevention options. So frost prevention basically means if in areas where it's very cold and ice freezing is an issue, if the property ever gets below the room temperature of 47 degrees, let's say, it'll automatically kick on the heat to a comfortable temperature that's avoiding any damages to the unit. Same thing with areas where humidity and mold infestation is an issue. If the room temperature ever gets above 95, it'll click on the AC, bring it back to a safe and comfortable temperature so that doesn't cause damage to the unit.
But one would think that it would never get to that if temperature range lock was set, correct?
Well, temp range lock is a physical limit. The one that you're talking about is the energy saving option.
Okay.
So what this does is that you can set up for the occupancy and you can set up for the vacancy. And let's say we kept a range of 60 and 75. Anytime the room temperature is within this range, it'll maintain the off status. If it ever fluctuates outside, let's say the 62 or let's say 77, it'll automatically kick on the respective AC or heat component, bring it back within this range, and then shut off.
So, because that's another problem we have, right? When somebody pricks with it, we want it to go back to a certain temperature after an hour or after whatever.
Exactly, and that's what this manual override is for. Good. So in this instance, if it was 2 hours, if I had a contractor that's doing re-renovating the kitchen, they're in, it's the middle of summer, it's hot, they want to break it down to 62, and let's say they leave and forget. What the system will do is after that input was submitted, after 2 hours, it'll automatically bring it back within this range and then shut off.
But again, right now, this is company-wide. There's no way to individually set it per unit, or no?
You can, but you'd have to set it up per thermostat. These ones are set up for vacancy and occupied. And again, if you want to tier it off where like specific regions of properties, like cities, we can do that, and you can tailor them on that front as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
scroll. Like, if I had,
no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. So I was saying, so in an instance where you had like, let's say 55 properties in LA and you had 65 properties in Houston. You can use the tiered access, which would have like a kilostat for Houston and a kilostat for LA, and you can set up ranges based off of those for their respective vacant and occupied properties. So that is possible.
So I love this thing right above, the check-in mode. I like this. So if it's reserved, automatically move it based on a check-in time. Boy, that's a great idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in this instance, whether you're in the mountains or you're in a warmer climate, area. If you wanted it to cool, let's say to 67 degrees, let's say an hour before check-in, it'll automatically bring it to that temperature, so enhancing the guest experience. Obviously, it not only does that, but it also protects the HVAC system. Generally, when the guests or people who use short-term rentals go in, they bring the AC to the lowest point because obviously they don't really care. And it causes damage to, especially if you have, let's say, a 2 or 3 story property and you're bringing it all the way to 65. For the temperature to get to that point, I mean, you're putting a lot of stress on the system itself.
Yeah.
This avoids that from happening.
All right.
And then obviously number 5 and number 7 assist in keeping the ranges. So you'll see, so you don't have to worry about, did so-and-so turn off the AC or do I need to send someone out to verify that this unit all off? You can just do that remotely through the scheduling, and you can also view it on a per property basis.
Cool. All right.
So those are the thermostat rules. We do have one more rule for single family and multifamily use. You don't really need this one, but for vacation rentals or short-term rentals, they oftentimes have this where they want to incorporate if any doors or windows were left open for let's say 5, 30 minutes. Yeah. It'll actually automatically shut off the thermostat for you, so you're not blasting AC with every single window in your unit open.
Cool. That's a good idea. All right, so let's back up here. So you got software integrations, notifications. So what's software integration? Just real briefly, let's go through any of these and see what they look like.
Yeah, so software integrations is more for vacation rental focuses. So if you have like a booking software like Escapia, V12, Streamline, MyRes, Cirrus, whatever it may be, our system can tie into it because we have partnerships with all those.
So click on it. What do I do? Do I just hit a button? I mean, what do you?
Yeah, well, in order to have the software integration on your side, you would have to have Escapia or like one of these booking softwares, like for instance Airbnb and VRBO. And anytime a guest books with one of your properties on those markets or on those sites, our system would pull the guest information, create a line item for the guest, and then at that point push that code back into the software so that you can send out a communal email. That code will automatically activate upon check-in and automatically deactivate upon checkout. So again, really streamlining the entire vacation rental process. For single family and multi, again, it doesn't.
Well, no. I do. We do both. That's why I'm asking.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, that's where it ties to the reservations tab up here.
Okay. All right, and we're not paying any more for that. That's just part of it. I mean, it's again, you said the lock thing. Well, the full blown thing is $8 a month, but just the locks is what? What did you say the locks was?
Yeah, so the package for a deadbolt and a hub starts around 330, and that's just one-time fee. And then after that, just for ongoing service and use of the system, it's $8 per month. And that
Right.
includes
So,
everything. So
but it's $8 a month, whether or not I've got a lock or whether or not I have a lock and 20 thermostats. It's $8 a month.
Exactly.
Period. The hardware you're saying is 330.
Yes, and that's the one-time purchase. And then if you wanted like a thermostat to add on in the future, the thermostat started at 150.
Yeah.
And that's again one-time fees. That doesn't add anything to the reoccurring.
And you can send me details of the pricing or because I'm not going to remember that shit. But all right,
Yeah.
all right, company details. I'm assuming that's normal crap. I mean,
Yeah,
it looks
that's normal. Yeah, you don't need to worry about that. Dashboard is regarding this. If you want to add specific metrics to it, you can like check off specific boxes. We can also add to it. So if you didn't want to see, let's say, the reservation,
yeah, no, that makes sense.
check them in order.
All right, so
groups. The groups is what I showed you in the staff. So if you want to set up one,
I remember that.
you have West, and these are the 3 properties.
I remember that. Locks.
Locks is a feature where if you have a bunch of vacant units, you can actually set up a time where.
So like a multifamily property or something like that, where you're allowing showings and just leaving it unlocked a certain part of the day.
No. This was actually a little bit different. So this one, if your property is vacant and it's left unlocked at 7 p.m., it'll actually so securing your property.
What a great idea, man! That's really a good idea.
Yeah, so with multiple properties, it's hard to keep track of if so-and-so went in, did they lock the door? This will alleviate that stress.
All right, lighting.
And then lighting and monitoring are the scheduling components. So if you have light switches in each of your units, you can actually have schedules where they shut off every day at 5 p.m. Just in case if someone left them on.
We'll click on one of them so I can at least see it. So.
Oh yeah, it's the scheduling.
Oh, okay, so it's essentially the same thing as the locks, but then all right, and then. What's thermostat? No, that's the one you already showed me. Then monitoring.
Yeah, monitoring just details, again, setting up a schedule for arming. So any of your vacant properties, let's say you wanted to arm the property at 5 p.m. every day. What this does is that any day after 5 p.m., the properties will automatically arm. So if anybody attempts to go into the unit, or if they trigger, let's say, contact sensors and motion sensors, you'll receive a notification and an alert on your phone and via email saying, hey, looks like someone just tried to enter your property. And then at that point, you can send out the respective individuals to verify.
All right, and are there, so there are Z-Wave contact sensors and Z-Wave, whatever what'd you say, motion sensors. Yeah.
Correct, which we offer as well.
All right, great. All right, and then pool controller.
Pool controller is pretty basic. It's just really turning on the pool heater or turning it off.
And what pool controllers are supported? I'm just curious.
We utilize RCS and one other model, but it's an attachment to the existing.
So it's also a Z-Wave device. It just talks to.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Like I have a Jandy pool controller. My pool controller is really a Jandy device, but Jandy and Hayward tend to own most of the market. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah. So it would be able to attach, and if you had units or properties that did have the full option, then we can get the model and then obviously walk you through how to attach the controller to it.
All right. What else is on here? I gotta get going. I guess somebody's waiting for me.
But other than that, no, that's pretty much everything when it comes to the dashboard. Do you have any questions?
No, but I probably will though. You're gonna email me something, and so email me something with the pricing and stuff, and then and I'm assuming all this stuff works right now. It's ready to go.
Yep, it's ready to go. We have let's say 10,000 plus devices in the field currently, and they've been in the field for now 5+ years.
Great.
Yeah, so we've been vetted. We have case studies in every field. So if you wanted to purchase and had units you wanted to apply it to, it's as easy as plug and play, and then you have full remote control right now.
All right, cool. Well, I like it.
Perfect.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your help. Send me that email whenever you get a chance, all right?
Yeah. Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you again, Robert.
Bye-bye.